Maybach music.
Welcome back to another Everyman Movie Critic, where we bring the love of movies back to you. And as always, it's me, Johnny B.
And I'm Scott.
You did so much better that last time. You scared the crap out of me, but still, it was funny. Son thought it was funny too. So this week we're going to talk about martial artists in the movies. And ones, I mean, like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, actors like, or martial artists like
Ernie.
that. Ernie?
Didn't you say there was an Ernie that was in the Ninja
He loves
Turtles?
just throwing crap at me
Turtle,
like that.
and like the Ninja Turtles and stuff like that.
His name is Ernie Reyes Jr.
Oh yeah.
And he's technically, he was more of a stunt guy than anything. But we digress. So if you like this video, make sure you subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. We always upload every Sunday and Wednesday if there's 2 parts to a series. There's not going to be a lot in this topic because there's not a lot of martial artists out there that we want to talk about. I'm sure if you go on IMDb and you can look up 100 of the best, martial artists in movies and stuff back in the 50s or whatever.
Half of them we won't talk about.
Sonny Chiba, people like that, who's
And that guy that you were talking about that trained Bruce Lee?
Ip Man. Yeah, that's Donnie Yen. So we'll start with Donnie Yen, who's actually one of my favorites. There's a series of movies out there called Ip Man, I-P-M-A-N, one word. That's his name. He does a style of martial arts called Wing Chun, and they are awesome movies. There's 4 of them that are official about Ip Man. There was another one that was not about Ip Man. It was supposed to be, but it was a different actor, and I don't even know. I didn't even bother watching it. Then they did a spin-off from Ip Man about this other guy from Ip Man 3 who did Wing Chun also. It was called like Ip Man Legends or something. But they are definitely worth a watch. Most of them sometimes you can find them with English dub, but most of them, if you want to really enjoy it, just get it with the English subtitles. It actually doesn't take away too much from it. Sometimes they have English in there, here and there, but not too much. But Ip Man, all of them, they're just awesome movies, and I don't think Forky wants to hear about it anymore. Sorry, you go to sleep, Forky.
He's the guy that you said was in the Star Wars movie?
Forky?
No, not Forky.
Does he look like he's in Star Wars? He can't even hold a lightsaber. No, Donnie Yen he was also in Star Wars Rogue One.
Thank you. That's
one of those side movies that they were trying to do. He played the Blind Jedi, he had one of the best lines ever. I am one with the Force is with me. I am one with the... It's so true to life. It was all about faith, and I liked that. It was about his blind faith. And it's kind of like, it reminded me a little bit of Denzel Washington's character in Book of Eli, where he just went by faith. And everything to him was just blind faith and leading on the path that he knew he had to be on, even if it ended up being his death. Mm-hmm. And that was awesome. I love that kind of inspirational characters like that in movies, especially Star Wars, because Star Wars has got a lot of religious overtones in it. The Force is supposed to be like God or whatever, the spirit of God or whatever, however you want to look at it. And all right, so we have Donnie Yen. Another one of those similar actors, you have Jet Li, who did a lot of those action movies back then. He was in his first one, I think, was Lethal Weapon 4 over here in the United States. And then he was in the Expendable movies, or a couple of them. He was really good. I'm trying to think of other movies that Jet Li were in. He did those hip-hop action movies that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Romeo Must Die, and he was also in one of the other ones.
I know Jet Li, but I don't know much about what he really was in.
Trouble.
I mean,
And then he did that one, The Hero, it was called. That was like a Japanese movie.
It's like those Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon things.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Drag Queen is what was said in Lethal Weapon 4 when he talked, when Mel Gibson saw Jackie Chan. He said, never mind. Take 2. Okay, so Jet Li, Jackie Chan, he's another one of those.
Jackie Chan's a comedian.
Yes, he is. But he's awesome.
He is.
He was a perfect Mr. Miyagi in the new Karate Kid movie, even though it had nothing to do with karate. He learned Kung Fu, but they can't call it Kung Fu Kid because they probably should have.
I think they could have. They should have.
But Jackie Chan was awesome in that. He always did the same kind of fights where he uses people's clothing against them and surrounding objects to knock bad guys into each other.
Oh, he's...
How else could he have fought a group of teenagers in that movie and not,
He was in a Bruce Lee movie too. I know that.
Well, they were initially they wanted him to be the next Bruce Lee, but then he was like, "I'm not Bruce Lee, I'm me."
Yeah.
And then he went off and did like the Drunken Master movies, and
Mhm.
oh my God, those were awesome. And it was actually Quentin Tarantino who brought Jackie Chan and brought him into the spotlight in Hollywood with Rumble in the Bronx. That was it was an older Japanese movie or Chinese movie from Asia, and they brought it over here, and then he did Super Cop, and then he just went from there. And then he was Rush Hour was a huge hit for him, and he was
Rush Hour is where he kind of made
that one was Luke Wilson, the cowboy movie there.
He
I
did
can't think of the name of that one.
He did his own cartoon series.
Did he?
And, yeah, Jackie Chan. It's kind of like
I don't remember that.
it's like you know how they had the Mr. T cartoon thing like that. They had a Jackie Chan.
I actually like that movie, Mr. T and his Teen Heroes.
Yeah.
They were a bunch of athletic kids.
Yep.
No, they all did gymnastics.
Yeah, they did gymnastics. But yeah, he had his own thing, and they were hunting down like artifacts and stuff like that.
I thought that's what the Karate Kid show did, the cartoon. They had a Karate Kid cartoon back in the 80s and 90s.
Did they do that too?
And they did this exact same thing where they had to chase this lantern thing throughout history or something.
Oh, this is a little different than that, but yeah, it's probably got the same similarities.
Did it have something to do with the medallion?
I can't remember. They might
I
have
don't
had
know.
medallions in there, but I'm not sure if that
I
was the
don't know.
one or not. I might be thinking about something else with that too. But I know that Jackie Chan had his own little cartoon series that I watched a little bit of. I mean, it's his voice. It was good. But
Well, we can't mention all these guys without the legend himself, Bruce Lee,
Mm-hmm.
who paved the way. Because he did both little comedic, and then he also did serious acting. He actually started out as a comedy actor when he was a little boy, before he grew up to become the guy we know. And there's a very tragic story about him and his son.
And his son. They both died the
That's
same
what
way.
I'm saying. Around the same age, there was a
Yeah.
curse. There had been a curse on their family, that they were saying that these younger men, and actually, I don't know if it's true or not, but according to the Dragon Bruce Lee movie, there with the guy who played him there, I can't think of his name. They said that his father, Bruce Lee's father, gave him a girl's name so that the demon that was supposedly following their family wouldn't know that it was a boy, and he gave him a girl's name. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm gonna have to, folks, if that's true, leave a comment below. Let me know if that is accurate information. I'd like to know. I should look it up myself. That's what Google is all about. But then he grew up, and then his dad sent him to the States because he knew he couldn't make it in China, and he got into some trouble. And then he was trying to be in that TV show, Green Hornet.
He was in that TV show. He was the, like the Robin of the Green Hornet.
He was.
Yeah.
And they actually had an episode where they met Batman and
Yes, they
Robin
did.
from back then. But that show didn't do very well. It only lasted
was a
like 3
movie, too.
seasons. It did. And then he became a huge hit in China with all like The Big Boss and Game of Death and all those other movies. And then he made one huge movie in the States, Enter the Dragon. And that was an awesome movie. It was definitely a product.
That was the one with Jackie Chan in it, I think.
No, that was Bolo Young from
Oh,
Bloodsport.
well, he wasn't. I thought he was.
Remember
in
Bolo
that
Young
movie.
from Bloodsport?
Yeah, I know
He
you're
was Chun
talking
Li.
about. I'm not saying he was the one he fought at the end, but
He
I'm
wasn't in
saying
that.
that he was in one of the Bruce Lee movies. I know that.
I'm sure he was, because they were
They made a big
spawning,
thing about it. Yeah.
of course. And then he ended up fighting. Oh, we forgot to add him, but Chuck
Cool.
Norris
Yes.
was in one of the Bruce Lee movies. Chuck Norris is a huge. He was. We're gonna do a series or an episode on Canon Pictures. I already mentioned that once before. But Chuck Norris was a huge Canon Pictures. Everything, Invasion USA, and Mission. Not Mission Impossible.
He was in a lot of like.
He did a movie where Braddock is what he was. His name was Braddock. I can't remember. Missing in Action. That's
There was like a ton of he was like the biggest martial art star for a while.
for Canon Pictures.
Yeah, for picture. Yeah, he was like in there forever, and there's like all these movies came out, and I remember him as
Lone
a
Wolf
kid.
McQuade.
Yep, I remember him as a kid, and I wasn't into movies that much as like that, and like the
I was renting.
martial art movies type
I
of
was
things.
renting martial art movies
I
all the
was-
time when I was a little kid.
I was so mad because they'd always be on, and I'd be like, I'd want to watch my show or something, and there was just There's movies.
You don't remember like Kung Fu Express on or Kung Fu Theater on USA as a kid, where they had those old school
Yes, but
Chinese movies where
yeah.
where their lips moved
yeah.
before their mouth did.
That was the only thing good I liked about them at the time. I mean, that was
Jonesy
just me
from
as a
the
kid.
Police Academy movies would always make fun of that.
Yes.
And I always appreciated that because he is so funny. And anyway,
Yes.
so martial arts actors, Chuck Norris we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He did a lot of
Didn't he do something with a
Octagon.
helicopter. He was like in a helicopter?
That was probably missing in action.
Could have been.
They had to escape in a helicopter. Missing in Action, those are canon movies. Invasion USA, the one where they had the terrorists. Delta Force.
Delta Force.
That's one of my favorites.
That might have been what I'm thinking of.
But those are more of action-y. He
Yeah.
did some martial arts in there, but more guns and rockets and blowing stuff
I've
up.
never seen him not kick somebody. He's like even when
He
he
never
was
really
in,
could kick high either. He was always those low kicks.
He's even when he was in Walker Texas Ranger. Another
Texas
show
Ranger.
my dad loves.
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Texas Ranger. Can you say Texas?
No,
Okay, I guess.
apparently not. Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yes, my dad.
You know
my dad-
what's his name from Supernatural is going to be the new Walker, Texas Ranger?
Who?
Jared Padalecki. I knew
Yeah.
that one. Yeah, he's the new Walker, Texas Ranger. I think that's a bold move.
Is that a movie or is it
No,
a TV
it's a
show?
TV show for
God.
CBS.
Why do they keep making stuff over and over again? It's like they have no
Original
they can't
ideas.
Yeah, they can't make anything new.
They do, but CBS has a thing of rehashing old shows. I mean, Hawaii Five-O was a huge success for them. And other networks
But
have
it's-
always tried to do that too. They try to remember NBC tried to do Knight Rider and that bombed.
Yeah.
They tried to do Bionic Woman, that bombed. And
I
so
actually enjoyed
CBS has
those
actually
shows.
had success with Hawaii Five-O, which has now been on for 10 seasons.
But what I'm saying
And
is
now,
like, it's not just
Magnum PI.
it's not just TV shows, it's movies too. I mean, they remake this stuff that they don't really need to remake.
Well, we'll get into that another time. We're talking about martial arts.
Yeah, let's go back.
Now, my favorite, he was a huge one. He started out in the Cannon pictures, and that was Bloodsport, and that was Van Damme.
Mm-hmm. We talked about him before too.
He did Bloodsport, Kickboxer, which is really good. Don't even start with that part 1, 2 shit.
Oh, what?
We're gonna talk about him after
Who?
because he picked up where he left off.
Oh, Sasha, you're talking about. Yeah, we're on him yet.
We're not on him yet, and that's what she said.
Did
Van
she?
Damme. Okay, so Bloodsport, Kickboxer.
I was talking about
Then he tried to
Mortal
do like
Kombat.
yeah, we'll get back to him.
Or actually,
Well, Van Damme was actually supposed to be Johnny Cage.
Mhm.
They used his image to be Johnny Cage, and he was supposed to play Johnny Cage in the movie, and it never and it fell through.
that was
He instead
weird.
went off and did Street Fighter, which was an odd choice. But Street Fighter was actually pretty good. I liked it because I love him and his helicopter kick.
There was a Lion movie with him in it that I liked.
Lionheart.
Yeah, Lionheart was good.
Well, that's what I was getting into.
And The
is
Quest.
That's what I was getting into. Once he started doing these more American movies, where he had more guns and stuff, with like Double Team and Double Impact and
I like the
stuff like that.
tournaments. I like tournament.
Time Cop. That's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then he tried to go back to that formula with The Quest, and that movie didn't do well. But there's another example of a good actor in a so-so movie, Roger Moore.
See, I like the movies like that when they're
Tournaments?
in tournaments. Yeah, like when he did the tournament ones, I like that. And like your buddy up here.
Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just
I know.
met him. He's talking about Donald Gibb from Bloodsport.
Who I don't consider a martial artist.
And I talked to him at Chiller convention. It's called Chiller Theater Expo in New Jersey, twice a year. We just met him, and he said he was very disappointed back then that Van Damme made a lot of mistakes, and they could have made more Bloodsports with the two of them. And Van Damme decided not to. So that's an interesting bit of trivia you probably didn't know. And you heard it here first, folks. But yeah, Van Damme did make a lot of missteps. He got into drugs, and he got his head big, and he was into alcohol, and then he had a falling out with Frank Dukes, the guy who was behind, Bloodsport, the guy who he was based on.
The real one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he made some huge missteps with like Double Team with Dennis Rodman, which, guys, I'm not a fan. I like Van Damme, but once he started using guns, that's when he started going downhill on movies. But then he made a comeback on Amazon Prime, he made a movie called JCVD, which was technically about himself. and that was actually critically acclaimed. Universal Soldier, that's another good one with him. And then when he came back and later on, when they made like these more serious versions of those, Regeneration it was called, and he brought back Dolph Lundgren again. Those are actually pretty good. All right, so one that he has never heard of, or maybe has, he was in some of the ninja movies back in the 80s from Canon Films. Sho Kosugi. He was in Revenge of the Ninja, and then he was in Ninja 3: The Domination. He was actually in one with Van Damme called Black Eagle, where Van Damme was the bad guy. Oh, Van Damme got his start in that No Retreat, No Surrender. Remember No Retreat, No Surrender?
Not
Where the kid Jason, he moved to Seattle and he was getting bullied, and then the spirit of Bruce Lee came and trained him, and then at the end he had to fight Van Damme. He was like a Russian guy who could kick ass and take names. So Sho Kosugi was who I was talking about. Yeah, he was in some of those ninja movies back in the 80s with Canon Pictures. A lot of these people, I mean, have some kind. Not a lot of them, but a couple of them have a connection to Canon. Then we have Steven Seagal.
That I've heard of.
Who was more famous for like his slap boxing, whatever he did.
I was looking him up because I thought he was. There's somebody that's out there.
What does he do again? Hapkido?
He does keto. Yeah, he does keto. He does
Aikido?
Aikido. He had like 3 different styles that he'd learned, so that's what he was doing. But I thought he was one of the ones that had done Savant, which was the Russian martial art. And if someone knows an actor that did that, put a post that there, because
leave a comment below.
But yeah, I seen his movies. I mean,
I loved all those movies.
I was not the hugest fan of Steven Seagal.
Hugest?
Yeah, the hugest fan of Steven Seagal.
Okay.
What? You think I was?
No, hugest is not a word.
Hugest.
It's biggest.
No, I don't say biggest. I say hugest.
Anyway. Alright, it's not an English lesson. Anyway. No, what was he in? He did all those movies where he played a cop or something, and he died and then came back, and
there's a lot of I remember
Marked
him
for
fighting
Death
in a train, and
oh, that was they made a sequel of that too, with him on a boat. What is with sequels on boats? They did Speed 2 on a boat, and I can't think of the name of the movie that you're talking about, but yes, it was he was like the chef.
Yeah.
And Elena, whatever from Baywatch was in that with him. And I can't think of the name. Guys, what is the name of that movie leave a comment below, please.
Nicole Eggert was the best from Baywatch, by the way.
Okay. So Steven Seagal, Jet Li. Now there was one that was an female action star back then. It was Cynthia Rothrock. She did China O'Brien, it was called. And she was just they were just trying to get a female version of like Chuck Norris out there. And that's basically what she is. They were talking about making a female version of the Expendable movies.
Well, Ronda
called
Rousey
Expendables.
She was in that, right?
No, Ronda Rousey was in Expendables 3.
Expendables 3.
But I'm talking about they're trying to do a female version of the Expendables called Expendabelles, and they were going to have like Linda Hamilton and Sigourney Weaver, and Cynthia Rothrock was one of the names they threw out there.
I'm surprised they wouldn't have put her with Ronda Rousey in there. But,
they probably would have, but she was already in the crap version of Expendables 3.
Yeah.
That was when they went PG-13, and it just kind of went. They are supposed to make a third one of those, or fourth one of those. And so you got Wesley. Well, Wesley Snipes, he's a martial art actor technically.
Is he?
Blade. He did a lot. He knows martial arts. He does a lot of martial arts fighting in all his movies. He did Passenger 57. He did martial arts, and the one where he's a skydiver. He's always like some cop that does some kind of goes in the underground or something. What is the name of that movie? I love that movie too. Drop Zone. He does martial arts in there. So he's technically a martial artist. He's not really known for it because he's done drama too. But and then Michael Jai White, he's another one. He's the guy who played Spawn.
We talked about.
He was in Universal Soldiers 2 with Van Damme, and Goldberg was in that too. But he's not a martial artist. Well, Michael Jai White.
You're talking about
Jeff Speaksman. He's very similar to Steven Seagal, where he did like fast hands and he did the quick kicks and stuff, and he did like the perfect. It was called The Perfect Weapon. I think it was more of that one-hit wonder kind of guy.
Yeah.
He did one big movie and then never really heard of him. He slipped into obscurity. he didn't really do many big action movies. But Perfect Weapon was his first and probably biggest. Oh, and then of course Brandon Lee we could talk about.
Does he know that much martial arts? Though?
Yeah, he learned from
Because
his
the
dad.
Crow, I figured he would, but the Crow he
Well,
didn't really do much.
He was in Showdown in Little Tokyo, which had a lot of action,
Mhm.
martial arts in it with him and Dolph Lundgren. And then he did another one with Powers Booth, where it was right before The Crow, and it was actually a semi-critical success.
I was wondering about.
And he did
that.
martial arts in that, and then The Crow, he did a little martial arts, but not too much.
Not too much. The Crow didn't really need to do it. That's what.
But I think if Brandon Lee had lived,
yeah, he probably
his
would.
untimely death
That's-
in the making of The Crow.
That's what I was wondering about because I didn't really see too much of him besides the Crows. And they did a TV series on that too.
Yep, Stairway to Heaven with Mark Dacascos. He's another actor I should add on. Thank you, Mark Dacascos. He's the guy from. We were just talking about him in the other one there, the other videos. He was in Double Dragon, and then he was in Only the Strong, which is Capoeira. Which, if you know anything about the Tekken video game series, Eddie Gordo does Capoeira, which is it's Brazilian Kung Fu, and they have a lot of aerial acrobatic stuff that they do. He was in Brotherhood of the Wolf, which was a really good movie. If you guys like it's a period piece from the 17th century. It's about this cult of these guys back in England or wherever they are, and there's this wolf going around killing people. And it's like this mysterious wolf that's like a metal wolf or something, and they hire him and this guy to come and kill it. And Mark Dacascos does a great job in that. He's in, like I said, Only the Strong. He was just in John Wick 3, Parabellum. He played the bad guy in that. He has a bald head. He's actually the host of that new cooking show now. That chef, Iron Chef. And he does the thing with the sword all the time. That's Mark Dacascos. He's a really good martial artist. He's seriously underused, and he hasn't made really big critical successes anyway. But I still like his work. So if you like good martial arts, go check out Only the Strong. That is awesome. It's not a great acting. Very bad acting, actually, but the music is good. We're going to do an episode about best scores in movies. It has one of the better scores. And great action. Capoeira is awesome. It's really good martial arts. And then last but not least, Scott's favorite, even though I don't really agree with this one. But, go ahead, Scott. You take this one.
Okay, he wants me to talk about, let's see, basically what I was telling him is when I think of non-Asian martial arts
Well,
in
tell
movies,
him who the actor is.
I'm going to get to it. We got, I knew, these are the ones that I know, not personally, but I know off in my head that
You wish you knew
I
him
recognize
personally.
it. Okay, you got Chuck Norris, we talked about him. We got Steven Seagal, and we got Jean-Claude Van Damme. Those are the three main ones that I thought about. And then going from Jean-Claude Van Damme,
who picked up his leftovers.
He had mentioned before Kickboxer. So besides a few other movies that he did with martial arts, the guy that took over for Kickboxer 2, 3, and 4
Sasha Mitchell.
was, thank you. I was wondering what his name was.
It was driving me nuts. I had to say the damn name.
His name is Sasha
He was,
Mitchell.
if you know who the heck he's talking about, he was Cody from Step by Step, that ABC show that was really good.
He was in quite
Brandon
a few.
Call and Suzanne Summers and Patrick Duffy, but he was the doofy California surfer guy.
Yeah.
And he actually did a good job in Bloodsport too. Or Kickboxer 2.
Kickboxer 2, 3, and 4. He was, I mean, they for what the movies are, and that, as I said before earlier.
I don't remember a 4, but yeah.
There is a 4. I looked it up because I was
he in
looking
that
to
one?
see. Yep. He was in that, and then there was like.
It couldn't have been Tong Po anymore, was it?
I don't know who was in that.
Because I know he didn't kill him in any of in the second one. I know in the third one he was there, but they recasted Tong Po in that one. He was a god awful incarnation of him. At least they got the same guy to play him in the first one.
Did his brother come in at one point?
No, that was Sasha Mitchell's character. He was Kurt Sloan's brother.
No, I mean I was talking about Kung Pao. Yeah.
Kung Pao.
Tung Po, I said.
Don't yell on the camera.
Why? You said I gotta be louder.
Tong Po.
Yes, that's what I was saying. I thought his real life brother, had joined in.
His real life brother, the guy who plays Tong Po, and the guy who's his real life brother, are both friends of Van Damme and have been in previous Van Damme movies.
Yeah.
The guy who played Tong Po was in Bloodsport as the guy who did kickboxing. He was in. He played Tong Po. He was in Lionheart.
Yep.
He was one of the guys chasing him.
Yep.
It's the same guy. His brother was in Lionheart as Attila.
I thought.
And he was in The Quest as that Mongolian guy.
Yeah.
Those are the brothers.
I thought he was in one of the kickboxers.
I know my stuff with those guys.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying you don't.
But we're talking about Sasha Mitchell anyway.
That's what I was saying. He was in
You were so
Kickboxer
hot
2,
on
3, and
talking
4.
about this guy, so go ahead.
I just did.
What else was he in? You gotta tell people other things.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I told you he was in a few different movies.
Guys, just look up Sasha Mitchell. He actually did a really good job in Kickboxer 2.
Thank you.
And I thought 3 was decent, even though the guy they recasted to play Tong Po. And if anybody who's a diehard Van Damme fan knows exactly who I'm talking about. All you ladies out there, go check it out. Impress your man. You know, if you go up to your man and tell him you know who Tong Po is, and you tell him all this information, he'll go a long way. Trust me.
And what if they say they know Sasha Mitchell?
So, do you want to mention any more about Sasha?
That's all we needed. We just talk about movies. We talked about the kickboxer movies that he was most known for.
Okay.
Yeah, and we talked about Johnny going me. Because that's what he likes to do.
Me. I'm not Beaker.
You sure?
Yes.
You got the hair like him.
Shut up. No, Beaker's got
I know.
jackass. Guys, all right. So we're gonna wrap it up for this week, talking about martial artists. If we missed anybody, just leave it in the comments below. Maybe we'll do a part 2 to this someday. I doubt it because there's really not many, but we can have a conversation going in the comments below if you'd like.
You said everybody I knew from martial arts.
Yep, and everybody I knew too. So anyway, if you like what you saw and you want to see more great content like this episode, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification button for new videos that we're going to post mostly on Sundays. If we have a part 2 to anything, it's always on Wednesday. Hit the like button. Even if you didn't like it, still hit the like button. It's free to do. Maybe I'll give you guys $1. And again, if we get to 25 likes this time, I'm going to shave his hair. He's not arguing this time.
He's
It's
not
good.
touching
He's
my
smart
hair.
enough.
He knows not to touch my
I
hair.
just touched it.
He did not.
Anyway, sorry. Thank you for tuning in. Leave a comment below. Hit the like button.
Leave a
subscribe
comment if you
haven't.
like my hair.
Or if you want me to shave it after we get 20 likes. But anyway, so thank you for tuning in, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.